Well, let's talk about what's going on here in Washington County. So, for those that aren't familiar, we are in Western Maryland, and I live in West Virginia officially, but we work out of Western Maryland. And I don't think we'll be doing that much longer because I think that the policies of this state are insane. And what you often see is leftists not understanding how taxes work, not understanding how businesses work. There's a really great tweet. David Hogg, you know the guy from Parkland?
Yes.
You see this tweet? He
tweeted.
It's
very funny.
It's too difficult to form an LLC. This is ridiculous. There's too many regulations. And people were like, accidental conservative moment. No, it's a young kid who did not realize how difficult it is. Often. Now, when you get old, you get experience. It's actually relatively easy. But I'll tell you the challenges. The first formation of a company I did was confusing and very difficult because we didn't. Imagine someone walks up to you and they hand you 5 bowling pins and say, juggle. You'll be like, okay, I can't do that. And they'll be like, figure it out. Take you a long time to figure it out. Once you get the hang of it, you can mix it up and you're juggling. You're like, I know how to do this. Yeah, where I'm at now with this company, it's really easy to start companies and work with it. But I have a team. We have accountants. We have lawyers. For a regular person, it's so difficult. And so what we end up seeing with many people on the left is they don't start companies. So they have no idea what's going on.
No, they go to government.
Mm-hmm. And then the government passes laws like, how do we increase tax revenue? I know, increase taxes. Well, I'll tell you what the result of that is. We're leaving.
Yeah.
We're moving our headquarters over. We've been building Freedomistan for a few months. We already have many employees who are already reporting out of there. And we're going to move everything to West Virginia because we're 10 minutes away.
Because it's almost heaven.
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the slogan or something?
That's John Denver.
That's some John Denver song. Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I think it's funny. Every time someone on the left tries to do something even remotely productive, they end up dropping some kind of conservative take about it. He's like, yeah, man, it's really hard to start this company. It's like, oh my goodness, he did something in the real world. And now he has a conservative opinion. How interesting.
This is interesting. Jen Perlman, who we've had on the show, who is a progressive Democrat, was tweeting about billionaires paying their fair share. And I said, how much do you think is fair? Is 55% a fair share? And Jen responded that perhaps 25 to 30% if you get rid of the loopholes was a fair share. And so I said, are you saying you would want to reduce the tax burden on billionaires if you could close the loopholes? And they said, yeah, I think so. And I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that completely, but that's an interesting take. I also wonder if they really understand what loopholes mean. Mm-hmm. I don't think they do. No. Because I don't think they would be arguing for that if they understood what the tax loophole really was.
Well, a lot of the tax loopholes, what they call loopholes, are built in to incentivize businesses, investors, entrepreneurs to do things that the government wants them to do, to get them involved in economic zones in underprivileged areas, low-income areas. It's about trying to bring in high-tech businesses and give them a tax break in an area like Washington County. So you get high-tech companies coming in instead of low-paying warehouse jobs.
Why would they call that a loophole and not a tax break incentive?
Because they don't actually want people to be incentivized to do good things. They just want to punish anyone who's more successful than them.
No, it's because, look, I think most of them never ran a business.
Yep.
They don't pay business taxes. In their mind, they were told evil billionaires aren't paying their fair share.
Yes.
The problem I have with that is I'm like, look, I'm with Steve, with Bannon on this one. Tax the rich. However, I don't think giving the government, like the idea in and of itself, but government's not going to do a good job with it. So I don't know how I ultimately feel with the end results of that. But the issue is they don't actually have a definition of what fair means.
Yeah, fair share rhymes. It's catchy. It's a rhetoric. It doesn't
meaningless.
Really mean anything.
That's why I said it's 55% fair. You're not going to get a straight answer.
Fair. Welcome to Earth, dude. Fairness. Come on.
But when you look at, say, the income tax, 50% of people that earn income do not pay an income tax.
Right.
And the top 1% pay a tremendous, I don't know what the number is, but it's an overwhelming amount.
So if you actually break down the tax burden by bracket, most people receive more benefits from taxes than they pay into it. Most people, even up to like 100 or 200K per year. It's only around or after that people start actually paying taxes, and it's the overwhelmingly the 1% and the billionaires who are paying the taxes that fund the benefits for all of the poor. I like that. I have no problem with that. That's why I have a problem with the government being unaccountable, with being bloated and corrupt. The idea that rich people, or we pay a percentage in taxes, and that goes to helping poorer people have cleaner water or roads. I like it. You know, we're only as strong as our weakest link. But we don't have that.
Yeah,
We've got a broken tax system. We've got leftists who don't understand it, who are being manipulated, who then impose tax laws which hurt their own states. And we have bloated government that siphons money off for BS reasons,
We have-
like Pakistani gender studies.
Corporations that are considered multinational that bounce from country to country depending on the tax levels. They have bank accounts in Panama. The Panama Papers breaks and shows all these people have they're hoarding their wealth offshores. This is the real life reality. So how do you deal with that? Corporations aren't going to sit around and pay you exorbitant taxes. They're just going to move their money offshore.
Can I give you an example? I've been campaigning and I've been going door to door. I'm trying to hit 200 to 250 homes every day, talking to people that are paying taxes, older people in their homes, younger people just getting started with young kids. And in Washington County, we have a tremendous surplus. The amount might be $40-50 million in excess revenue. They're talking about a $3 million property tax cut for the whole county. That will amount to about $50 for an average family making $50,000 a year living in a moderate-priced home of about $180,000. $50 total rebate. The assessments in this county, we get reassessed. 1/3 of the houses get reassessed every year. The assessments are going up, so it's going to be almost $100 a month more for that average house. So we're giving $50 back, but we're taking $1,150 from them. That's driving elder people out of their homes. They're a part of the fabric of the community. We want the grandparents and the elderly to be there because they're part of that community. They're important. But they're having to leave for West Virginia, for Pennsylvania, or go to Florida. So
Maryland is a ridiculous state, and the taxes are so insane. West Virginia is literally, we could drive a half an hour, and we're at our new headquarters. Is that half an hour drive, is it worth losing hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars? Well, that's ridiculous. So Maryland, it doesn't seem to understand that. I understand maybe for like a brick and mortar business, but the nature of our business and the growth we're having, we have no choice but to leave the state. And that means Maryland will end up losing tax revenue instead of just saying we will compete for your business with West Virginia.
You could have something where like certain areas of Maryland have a certain tax rate, but the further west you go, it starts to go down. So it becomes a little more like the neighboring states.
They do the opposite. They increase. So the way it works is if you're a resident of West Virginia and you work in Maryland, they charge you an additional tax.
Wow.
Instead of saying thank you for bringing your business here, they say, we're going to punish you for bringing your business here.
Yeah. Well, and people don't really understand that this is a matter of incentives. Like you said, that's what it is. It's a punishment. Of course, nothing's look at that and go, hey, they're raising money for our budget. I've discussed and broken down the Laffer curve on this show before. A lot of lefties who don't know anything about economics, which is to say most lefties, will actually tell you the Laffer curve doesn't exist. That's not true. No left-wing economist even says that. The disagreement is just over where the parabola peaks. Conservative-leaning economists tend to say it's somewhere near 20%. Left-wing economists might say as high as 70% if they're really crazy. But ultimately, people are not going to work for money when they can't keep as much of it. It's really basic stuff.
I just think it's a tremendous oversight for there to be a tri-state area between Virginia, Maryland, West Virginia. And Maryland's like, we're going to make it more expensive. So everyone's just like, why would I be in Maryland?
Well, it's similar to Illinois. Illinois is surrounded by red states, lower taxes, higher productivity, more economic growth. And Illinois is losing population. The taxes go up because the more people that leave, the more the producers leave, the more those left behind have to pay to support the gargantuan government apparatus that's in place.
Grassroots Atlas shrugged.
Well, we see evidence of this kind of thing in the real world too. So despite all of the lies the media said to convince people otherwise, after the Trump tax cuts, we saw a revenue increase. Our deficit increased as well because increased spending outpaced the increase in revenue. But the left used the fact that the deficit increased to argue that we lost revenue. It actually wasn't the case. They were just lying about it. But when you tax people less, they have more incentive to work and they generate more wealth for the economy.
And then take a look. It's not just your income tax. It's not just your property tax. It's the higher gasoline tax. It's the higher sales tax. It's the fees that they pass on cable, DirecTV. The water costs more. All of these things are passed on, okay? More so here than in West Virginia.
Well, and they know this. It's interesting. They know this because when it comes to taxing cigarettes or alcohol or even gasoline, it's understood that there's an agenda there. And the agenda is we want people to use less of this. So they're willing to recognize when it's convenient for them that when you increase taxes on something, you end up with a less productive market there. You're not able to sell as much of it. And yet when it comes to human labor, they're completely blind to it.
You know what else is interesting? This crypto stuff. They didn't start taxing it till like 2018, I think. And so basically there's like another $700 billion in the economy that maybe isn't accounted for right now. That untaxed just wealth was just created out of nothing. So
that's true. Considering the mass printing of money, the explosion in the money supply, I'm not sure if $700 billion has put a dent in it.
Yeah, right. It's up to $2 trillion in crypto value, thereabouts. It fluctuates.
West Virginia's got constitutional carry. There you go. It's just Western Maryland. I guess the way the states have structured themselves, they can't adapt properly fast enough. I don't know. It just seems ridiculous to me that the current system is too sluggish to realize the Western Maryland system. They're going to be losing prominent industry.
Why did they not make it so you could pay taxes online when you were at the White House? I don't know if you were involved with the economic stuff at all, but like,
it's an act of Congress.
Like, why would they not focus on streamlining that process so you can go in, click a few buttons, have your payment go direct from your bank account? Instead, they make you like file all this paperwork and search for things and go to this, and then and then it's like I got to pay them. And
well,
mail.
That's
like, yo,
totally
21st century.
Totally
I'm talking about their incompetence and sluggishness to adapt.
No. This is lobbying. There's big companies that make billions of dollars off of tax filing preparation.
Well, here's the question I have for you. I took 2 months with Facebook to try and get validated to have a campaign page. It took me 2 months. And they even used snail mail in the process, which slowed the whole thing down. I sold my house from the time I called the internet company Open Door until I got a check in the mail. It took me 13 days. I never saw a person. Yet Facebook, a modern company, 2 months to validate me as a person, to be able to run political ads.
Yep.
Bureaucracy.
So,
is it that they're too big? The American government has too many people working there?
Yes.
Nothing ever gets smaller. No programs ever die.
Nope.
Exactly. That's bloat.
But they got to know that if you hang on to a dying system and you refuse to shred it apart, it's going to get overthrown. Like, that's the inevitable. If you look at history from thousands and thousands of years in the past, that's what happens with societies if you refuse to reform.
But what happens is, as the culture starts to decay and break down, many people recognize we need a reform or it's going to fall apart. And once that happens, people say, well, I can't count on you, so I better grab as much silverware as possible as the ship sinks.
And that's mass printing.
And then
that's what's happening right now.
We've gone through things like reinventing government, okay? That was a big thing, I think, in the Clinton years. We had George Bush reinvent and redesign the whole intelligence community, 16 agencies, and develop the the Department of National Intelligence. It didn't solve anything, really. It just created another layer of bureaucracy, more jobs, more elite, but it's not any better.
Did you guys consider defaulting on the interest of the Federal Reserve?
I wasn't involved in that. That would have been Mr. Munchin and, others. So
thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.